Hey everyone, this is Lisa here with Evolve Body. So I wanted to record a sort of a new series of videos that sort of walk you through what are all these nuances of working on your nutrition and fitness, and what is it like working with a coach. So I figured the first topic should be, what does a nutrition and fitness coach even do, right? Like, so many people don't even realize. And I would say, like, until I had my own nutrition coach, I didn't even know they existed. And then, like, what do? Just tell you what to eat, and if you don't eat that, like, they yell at you or something. So I wanted to share this with you guys, obviously, and hopefully I can shed some light on, what it is that a nutrition and fitness coach actually does. And then don't forget to subscribe, because then the next video is what are things that a nutrition and fitness coach do not do that people sometimes assume. So make sure you stay tuned for that. Okay, but today we're talking about 5 things that a nutrition and fitness coach does for you as their client. First thing, number 1 above everything else, is listening and communication, right? So I guess it kind of sounds like 2 things, but really listening is part of communication. So they should be listening to you. They should be listening to your priorities, to your goals, to your deal breakers, concerns, and your preferences. If you don't like eating fish, you don't have to eat fish. So they should know that about you. They should communicate that with you. Your plan should be created to work with you, not against you. And that takes a lot of questions. If anyone has been my client before, you know I ask a lot of questions for clarity, or sometimes to dive deeper, sometimes to help you dive deeper into, why you feel the way you feel about things. And also within that is making sure that, as a coach, you don't just say, here's your plan and go do it. It is so much more successful for the client and better long-term, quite honestly, if they understand why you are including things in the plan. So, for my clients, I'm explaining, okay, these are where we're going to start with your targets, or this is what we're going to adjust, and this is why. I'm fully aware that not everyone is going to have a nutrition coach for the rest of their lives, right? My role is actually to help them help themselves, and to educate them and help them understand, how they can modify things and pivot things to line up with their goals and what's going on in their life at that time. So if I'm not explaining why, I'm not enabling them to be able to gain that knowledge long term. I want my clients to graduate, right? Because you want them to be able to do these things on their own without having to think about everything all the time, right? So number 1, listening and communication absolutely has to happen from a nutrition and fitness coach. The next thing that kind of spins off of that is they should strategize with you, right? So again, out of that communication and that listening, they should say, okay, so based on your goals and based on your lifestyle and your history and where you're currently at, here's a good, we're going to talk about your long-term goal. And then from that long-term goal, how do we dial in a shorter-term goal that we can target that's much closer to that? And then sort of reverse engineering your plan to be able to meet both of those goals. It also includes incorporating some sort of a timeline and a progression. I'm a huge believer in not going from 0 to 60 with people's plans. If you have not been going into a gym, I am not going to ask you to all of a sudden start going 6 days a week. Could you? Maybe, but the likelihood of you being able to sustain that is gonna be low. You have to build up to that. So starting from 0, maybe we go once or twice a week and get really good at that. And then we get that down. You may be like, you know what, I can go a 3rd day. Well, great, let's add a 3rd day. But we progress it over time. We don't just throw you in the deep end, kind of a thing. And another really important part of a nutrition and fitness coach's role with a client is to set their expectations up properly. I cannot tell you, it probably happens with just about every client, by the time they've reached out to me, they've sort of tried what they can do on their own and they're frustrated and they just want to get to a certain place, and whatever has brought them there has gotten uncomfortable enough where they feel like they have to do something. The problem is that most clients want it to happen overnight. And unfortunately, we don't get to that point overnight, so we don't get to undo that overnight. So my job with my experience and knowledge and science and all of that stuff is to explain to them what reasonable expectations they can have of the program and of themselves, so that they aren't expecting something that's really very unrealistic and then feeling disappointed when they don't get there. So as a coach, we should set reasonable expectations for our clients and really help them understand that if they exceed those are great, but that setting themselves up for something very unrealistic is only going to make them feel like a failure, and we never want to have that in our program. So kind of like I said with communication, again, you see how it goes back into all that. The next thing that a nutrition and fitness coach does is they educate. So again, I talked about this with the communication part, but my job isn't just to tell you what to do. Okay? Like if that was the case, you probably would have read it on the internet and done it yourself by now, right? My job is to educate, to understand the why behind the program, to understand, well, we can try this and we can see how your body responds and use that as a learning opportunity. That's great, but if people don't understand, they're very, very unlikely to be able to stick with it long term. You know, even going into some of those fad diets, keto and all these other ones we hear about, they all came about for a reason, because there's portions of them that led some people to success. There's also portions of them that maybe weren't successful for other people or weren't sustainable long term. And teaching your clients how to understand those nuances helps them become self-sufficient and be able to figure this out for themselves long term. When the next fad diet comes up or the next time they feel uncomfortable with things, they can kind of address how to dial it back in on their own. So obviously, as a coach, nutrition and fitness coach, huge part of the role is to be supportive for your clients, right? Like, not every client has a partner that's going to be very supportive of, their new initiatives, or a best friend, or a not everyone has that. So actually, some people have some relationships that are kind of not in alignment with their new goals. So a coach can help them feel supported in their new habits and feeling supported when they're a little nervous about trying something new or anything, or feeling a little bit unsure about themselves. A coach will absolutely celebrate your wins with you. That's actually something that I notice a lot, is that a lot of clients tend to focus on everything that they didn't do right in a week, when really part of checking in is also identifying what went well. So a huge part of providing them support is to also show them what they are doing well. We can always find things that we can do better, but figuring out what you did well will help you sort of capitalize on that and use that to strategize for the next challenge. Anything that didn't go well, that's a great time for the coach to say, hey, okay, let's walk through this. What are some ways we could have done this differently? Maybe next time we can do this, or plan for that. They can help you reframe things. This is something I do all the time. People don't realize how they speak to themselves or about themselves. And sometimes pointing that out and helping them reframe their thoughts can drastically help their mindset and help themselves stay consistent with their plans. The other thing is to help them keep focused, especially now. It's summertime, depending on when you're watching this, I guess, but right now it's summertime and everyone has so many things to do, trying to take advantage of the beautiful weather before it starts getting cold again here in the Midwest, and lots of weekend activities and things that could potentially drift them away from their goals and their plan. So a coach is there to help them refocus, to dial them back in and say, okay, if we have these things that are a priority to us, how can we approach them in a way that is still in alignment with our goals? So a coach can help you refocus on the why behind why you ever signed up in the first place, and keep you focused on that with all the other things going on in life. So the final thing of my top 5, and don't get me, there's way more than 5 things a coach will do, but the last of this 5 things is a coach provides you structure. It is probably 99% true that a lot of the people who are looking to achieve something, whether it's in health and fitness or not, don't have a structured plan on how they're going to get from where they are to where they want to be. So coach will have systems and a plan to line up with their goals. As you can remember from the strategizing point, they will have progression or regression depending on how the client is able to perform within that plan. And then they provide accountability. Hey, if you skipped this, you gotta make it up. We gotta incorporate this. How did that thing go? Oh, you didn't do it? Well, can you get it to me? Having deliverables will make you more likely to perform things. So by, having that structure, you can lay out how you're going to get from where you're starting to where you want to be. But that's it for my top 5. Quick recap. A coach is going to listen and communicate with you. They're going to help strategize with you. They're going to educate you, support you, and provide you with that structure and accountability that you need to help get you from where you're starting to where you want to be. So with that, I'm going to give my shameless plug here. I've been really working hard to improve my coaching programs to make them more accessible for all people. So I do one-on-one VIP coaching, I have group coaching services, and I also have some self-directed pre-programmed 8-week programming that either touches on gym programming if you're not sure what to do in the gym, or equipment free, core strength, and another one for just good old healthy habits. So I'm trying to serve a wide variety of people to help them get there where they want to go, and I would love the opportunity to work with you. I'm going to include the link to my link tree that will sort of walk you through where all my products are and how to access them. But I would love to have a conversation with you and see if there's something that we can do to help get you where you want to go. And don't forget, stay tuned for the next one, which is going to be the top 5 things that coaches don't do. Stay tuned.